audio is a presentation brought to you by Group 1, consisting of Mario Gallegos, Monica Guerra, Alexander So, Andrew Suter, and myself, Ashley French Gray. It will present our findings regarding the Ford Motor Company supply chain strategy case, which took place in the late 1990s to early 2000s.
This is the outline of the presentation. We will begin by giving you the general issues facing Ford at this time, their main stakeholders, the theory and concepts to do with the case, the problem and symptoms that are happening in Ford's supply chain, the alternatives and valuation criteria, also our group's recommended solution and an implementation plan. We'll review the project and then we'll give you a current update as to Ford's status. The main stakeholders are investors, customers, dealers, communities, and internal stakeholders. Internal stakeholders consist of employees and suppliers. By the mid-90s, Ford had implemented what it called the Ford 2000, a reorganization plan meant to merge all of its global operations. This was in part due to the growing competition in the United States market by foreign competitors such as Toyota and Honda. These new competitors were using information technology to manage supply chains better, making them price and quality competitive. Ford knew if it wanted to hold its spot as one of the 3 largest distributors of vehicles in the United States, it was going to have to use information technology to improve the communications between its customers and its vendors. Ford knew it needed to use the new emerging information technologies in order to better design its supply chain, but the management team was split on how to do this. Many wanted to take a page from the Dell Corporation and completely redesign and integrate their supply chain, and others thought this would be too drastic and that they should find a subtler way and focus more on enhancing customer and supplier relationships versus information technology. Ford's supplier network had too many layers, and suppliers were being picked based on their initial cost and not always overall cost. This was partially because their purchasing was independent from product development. This caused them to have lower quality vehicles than their foreign competitors and made purchasing decisions not always the best for the overall profitability of the company. Also, their industry was rapidly becoming overcapacitated by foreign competitors. Our group analyzed that Ford was looking at a few basic options. First and foremost, they could do nothing. Secondly, they could take on this virtual integration model that many of the managers saw as an advantage. They could also be proactive in their incident management in order to improve quality. They could manage risk through incremental outsourcing, or they could redesign their product and purchasing. Our group decided that the virtual integration model would be the best solution for Ford in order to improve its supply chain efficiency and remain prominent within the United States marketplace. This would mean creating IT protocols to share data with suppliers and making data visual to all the parties involved in the supply chain. It would also mean extending Ford's e-commerce capacity and creating a space where customers could order and customize products to their personal preferences. In order to implement this, dealerships will need to create demand for it. Also, they will need to create a website that allows customers to view the options and choose them. Ford should also allow dealerships to hold select inventory of the most optioned models in order to speed up the time to market. And they will also need to enforce the new IT protocols. Let's review the case. The Ford Motor Company knew it was in danger of losing its prime position as one of the top 3 automobile manufacturers in the United States market to incoming foreign competitors such as Honda and Toyota. In order to stay competitive, they knew they needed to make their supply chain more efficient. Part of becoming more efficient was to increase communication and visualization between suppliers all the way down to customers. They knew they had to streamline the materials from the suppliers. They needed to identify and correct inefficiencies in production, and they needed to create a consistent retail experience for their customers. By integrating the new IT platforms, Ford Motor Company was able to create more direct avenues of communication with customers, suppliers, and dealers alike. The impact was positive and assured them of their place within the domestic market as a key player. This slide contains a current status of the Ford Motor Company. In 2014, Ford Motor Company was able to increase its quarterly dividend by 25%, and for the first quarter in 2015, it was able to give out an extra 20%.